With winter fast approaching, a lot of people out there may be considering getting into either skiing or snowboarding and may be wondering what will be easier for them to learn this season. Before we hop into it, I just wanted to give a little bit of background about myself. At this point, I probably have around 15 years or so of skiing under my belt, but I actually took a skiing hiatus for around 5 years to snowboard instead, and during those 5 years I progressed my snowboarding skill to be able to hit expert terrain, as well as push myself in the terrain park, so I have a good idea of what both sports are all about. Over those 20 years or so, I've also been around a lot of people trying to learn one of the two sports, and it became pretty clear to me which one was easier for a beginner to pick up. That brings us to the main question of the video: which sport really is easier for a beginner to learn, skiing or snowboarding? To me, the answer is skiing. Skiing just puts you in a much more natural position compared to snowboarding, and it makes it easier for pretty much anyone to pick up, no matter their experience in other parts of life. Unless you've spent a lot of time doing board sports like skateboarding or wakeboarding, getting on a snowboard for the first time will feel pretty foreign. On top of that, your feet aren't strapped into one board when you ski, freeing up each individual leg to help stabilize yourself if you mess up. When you mess up on a snowboard, you can't throw a leg out to try and recover, which is a very natural reaction for all of us, and you just end up going down, usually pretty hard. Skiing will also require a lot less balance at first. To even attempt your first turn on a snowboard, you're going to need to be able to balance on your heel or toe edge. Attempting a turn and not having the balance and strength needed to properly engage one of those edges is going to end up in you catching the wrong edge on the snow, resulting in either landing really hard on your butt and your back and potentially snapping your head back and hitting the back of your head on the ground, or landing really hard on your chest, your stomach, your wrist, and just belly flopping into the snow. Trust me, catching your edge on a snowboard sucks, and it's something that is extremely unlikely to happen when learning to ski, but probably will happen multiple times a run when you're first learning how to board. To sum it up, because snowboarding is more difficult to learn the basics on, it's also going to be a lot more painful. Most beginner skiers I've been around have been able to start learning how to turn and make it down beginner runs within their first day without falling all that much. Learning to turn and slow down on skis is pretty simple. You just gotta learn the pizza technique or the snowplow technique to slow down, and then you really just have to push on the inside of your right foot to go left and the inside of your left foot to go right. And I've seen snowboarders who have been at it for years that still haven't fully grasped how to properly make even the most basic of turns. And because of this, a lot of beginner snowboarders end up doing the falling leaf, which just means you ride the entire trail on your heel edge because of how painful and scary it can be to commit over to the toe edge. And while most people who snowboard long enough have a light bulb moment where it all finally clicks and they figure out how to carve and turn instead of just putting all of their weight on their heel edge for an entire day straight, others might never be able to figure it out or take one too many slams and just give up. Snowboarding has a lot more flow to it and is a lot less technical than skiing, and while that flow is what makes it so fun, it isn't something that everyone will be able to pick up. Skiing, on the other hand, I think pretty much everybody would be able to pick up, and you might not become an expert, but you could at least learn enough to have fun out on the snow, make it down some beginner runs, and not crash over and over and over again. Now let's talk about progression. Once you've got the hang of either sport and have made it through the learning stages, which sport will be easier to progress at? Will you be shredding black diamonds sooner on skis or on a board? Now, the great thing about snowboarding is while it may take you longer to understand how to carve, once you do know how to carve, there isn't much you need to change technique-wise when going to more difficult terrain or when progressing your skills. The general concept of engaging your heel and toe edges will remain the same no matter what terrain you make it to. Skiing, on the other hand, is going to require you to break the habit of using that pizza or snowplow technique to instead learn to carve with your skis parallel to each other before you can really attempt that more difficult terrain. Now, I've seen people pizzaing all the way down black diamonds before, but let me tell you, it did not look fun, and I would definitely not recommend that. But even learning how to carve with your skis parallel won't really be enough for the most difficult terrain, and really understanding how to ski with proper form to conquer those double blacks can legitimately take years. The amount of technicality that is involved to learn proper skiing form is pretty mind-blowing, and I can safely say that after 15 years of skiing, my overall technique is still hideous. So in my opinion, you'll be able to make it to expert levels of snowboarding much quicker than you'll be able to make it to expert levels of skiing. And snowboarding is going to allow you to start hitting that expert level of terrain with your friends quicker than skiing would. Now, if you're not really worried about expert level terrain and you are worried about what's going to be easier to learn in the terrain park, I have a full video of that I made last year that'll be up in the top right corner right now. So be sure to check that out if all you're interested in is the terrain park. At the end of the day, you need to go with the sport that you think looks more fun. I mean, even though I think skiing is probably going to be easier to learn for a lot of people than snowboarding, that doesn't mean skiing is super easy to learn. They're both difficult sports to learn and are going to take a long time to master. If simply learning enough to make it down the hill to join your friends on the mountain once in a while is all you need, maybe go on that ski trip once a year, then skiing is probably the answer for you. But if you think snowboarding looks like the most fun thing on earth, and I mean, it is pretty freaking fun, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and are willing to persevere through those early bumps and bruises to unlock everything it offers, then snowboarding is probably for you. And even though it might be difficult at first, you shouldn't let that deter you from going out and trying the sport. There's no right answer on which one to start with. There's really just different aspects of learning each one that you should consider before you make that decision. And if you have any other questions around this topic, please leave them down below in the comments and I'll try to answer them. I hope this video helps you guys. I want everybody to get into extreme sports in the winter. I mean, whether it's skiing or snowboarding, they're both amazing sports, and if you have the ability to go try them, you definitely should. If this video helped, please leave a like and subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one, guys. Peace.